All right, guys, this is ERGJ back here with another quick video. Today we're going to be talking about something that's very disturbing. It's called the Day of Rage. The Day of Rage. And so, actually, just yesterday, the 13th, today's the 14th of July, at 10 o'clock, this article came out. There's plenty of articles talking about this, the National Day of Rage. So be aware, but not there. And it's scheduled for July 15th, which is tomorrow, Friday, the 16th. So this is a warning of some sort. I don't know what's going to happen, what's going on, whether this is real or not, but it's starting to look like it has some merit. So I figured I would get this out here. Now, the Day of Rage, what it is it's called a Day of Rage or a Day of Solidarity. Looks like the hacktivist group Anonymous is calling for a nationwide Day of Rage protest on Friday. So they have a video out. You can check it out on YouTube to check out the video. But they have a list of places that they have selected, 37 cities where they're having people to meet. And this particular article is telling us not to go there. It's a warning. So if you find yourself in any one of these cities tomorrow, it's going to be 7 p.m. Eastern time. I would say stay away. Now, me personally, I'm going to try to get out there and take some videos and be in the cut somewhere to really see what's going on for you guys, because there is one in my city. But if you have children, I would tell you to kind of stay away from what may happen tomorrow. So in the video, Anonymous does specify, let me make sure you guys see this, does specify nonviolence and denounces the action taken against the police officers that were not involved in these deaths with the tagline, Day of Rage. I think it's safe to expect emotions to be running very high on both sides of the line. So as you know, the narrative, we had police, some cops that had something to do with the killing of 2 black men. Then on Thursday of last week, we had retaliation, quote unquote, in Dallas of 5 cops being shot, and we had protests all throughout the weekend. And it's now leading us up to this, where this anonymous group is putting out a call for a Day of Solidarity in all these different cities. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second, because again, we talk about propaganda. Now, again, propaganda, in case you don't know, it's the government. In 2012, they passed a law that made propaganda legal. Legal meaning that it's legal for the government to use propaganda to lie to the American public. So they use it. The intention is to sway public opinion by using television, radio, newspapers, and social media, targeting the American informed people in controlled psyops, controlled psychological operations to mess with your mind. And so we have this going on the 15th. This can be a very, very scary ordeal. This could lead us into places we don't want to go if there is mass violence across the nation. So no matter how great your empathy might be for those of us who have unjustly lost their lives, these protests are not safe places to be. So here's what's going on, guys. There are all these different locations: Phoenix, Tucson, Little Rock, San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, Denver, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, Chicago, Des Moines, New Orleans, Baltimore, Boston, Detroit, Lansing, Ann Arbor, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Carson City, Manhattan, Newark, Durham, Columbus, Cleveland, Portland, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Nashville, Memphis, Austin, Salt Lake City, Seattle, and Milwaukee. All these places are being set up tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where some mass protests are going to be, and they typically are at state capitals or city capitals. Now, if your home happens to be in a city, be aware your city could be in danger. We are saying, hey, make some plans to stay safe, get some water, get some food in your refrigerator. This could turn out to be a national emergency. Now, it also could be a hoax. But with all of these cities, I was like, man, it's not going down. This is a hoax. But I'm starting to believe that something may go on, because even if it's not that organized and people do meet at these places, it could be very, very it could just get ugly real quick, real fast. And so I looked over here on the New York Post, and they have a post where they say that the Defense Department workers warned to avoid day of rage protests. So New York Post is reporting that the Defense Department is warning their workers to avoid the day of protest. So let's look at this. So again, you got the anonymous, supposedly. It's a hack operation. Department of Defense on Thursday issued stern warning to its personnel to steer clear of tomorrow's demonstration outside the White House, protesting the recent spate of fatal police shootings across the country. A group claiming to be anonymous is billing the D.C. demonstration as being part of a collective day of rage and a day of solidarity, with 36 other protests taking place in major cities across the country on Friday night at the same time. Please be advised, the U.S. Norfolk Command has issued a threat advisory informing Department of Defense personnel that a series of protests has been scheduled to be conducted across the United States on July 15th. The notice mentions that one of the demonstration sites is outside of the White House. For your personal safety, we highly encourage you to avoid these specific locations entirely. This is from the Army. The advisory to all Army personnel also lists the start times, locations of protests in cities that include Phoenix, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Miami. So the video came out and it talked about what they want to do. Now, here's what I want to really talk about, because if we get into propaganda, you got to ask ourselves this, guys. Who has the power to, in 24 hours, create this type of disturbance in 37 different cities? This is not the movement of a Black Lives Matter type of ordeal to have this a nationwide protest go on in all these different cities at the same time, to organize this type of thing. In my opinion, guys, we're talking about CIA type of stuff here, and which will lead me to believe that Anonymous is the CIA, because I think about Anonymous and their threats to ISIS and different government organizations. It leads me to believe that that the Anonymous is a CIA faction. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Not interesting to see. I mean, I don't think it's going to be interesting at all, but we really need to be in prayer. We really need to make sure we keep our families away from these different cities, because this is turning out to be something that's very, very serious. And we want to avoid this at all costs, because this is doing nothing but propping up the agenda to divide and conquer. Remember this, guys. United we stand, divided we fall. And if we fall for this, man, who knows what's next in the narrative, which seems to be leading us closer and closer towards civil unrest, civil war, racial war, and martial law. So anyway, I wanted to give this story to you guys because it's hot off the press. This thing was organized just that quickly in 37 cities. I mean, we're talking about some huge money that has something invested in having people to fight. And typically, guess what, guys? The people who get locked up, the people who will get killed or who end up dying and things like this, it's going to be poor people. Poor people are the casualties, and if we can come to the understanding that's what it is. And I would also say this is another form of population control. So be very careful tomorrow. Steer clear of these particular areas. Stay in. Get stuff tonight so that you are prepared to get through the weekend, because I got some other things I'll release to you guys probably tomorrow, because we also have something else that's going on Saturday. So at any rate, this is ERGJ. We're seeking truth. We're trying to break down this propaganda machine. Spread the word. Pray. Stay safe.